Hey, it's me, your boy Blue Gadget Guy, and today I'll be talking about the new Amazement and Attraction cards coming out in Lightning Vortex. News of this archetype came out yesterday after I was done recording the Time Thief and Evil Twin duels. So I decided to actually record this the next day. I tried recording a little earlier, but my laptop shut off, even though it was at 30% for some reason. Anyways, let's get started. First, we have Amazement Administrator. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm just gonna call it Arlecchino. Yeah. It's a dark psychic monster. It has 2600 attack and 2200 defense. If a trap card is activated, which is gonna happen a lot, you can special summon this card from your hand. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster or monsters, you can target one of those monsters, equip it with one attraction trap from your deck. Also really good. This is the monster you want to be getting out as fast as possible. And lastly, once per turn, you can banish any number of attraction traps in your graveyard, then target that many cards your opponent controls. Destroy them. Next, we have Amazement Ambassador Bufo. It's a level 3 Earth Beast effect monster. It has 1600 attack and 900 defense. When this card is normal summoned, you can target one attraction trap from in your graveyard and one face-up monster your opponent controls. Equip that target on the field with the target in the graveyard. Quick effect, which is an effect that this card and the next card have in common. Quick effect, you can target one of your attraction spell cards, attraction traps, equipped to a monster, and then equip it to an amazement monster or a face-up monster your opponent controls, which is pretty good. Next, we have Amazement Attendant. Also, sorry if I'm speeding things up. There's a lot of cards to go over, and I already explained a lot of it before where my recording got corrupted, but anyways, I'll explain it afterwards. Amazement Attendant Kamika. It is a light machine monster. It has 1400 attack and 1800 defense. When this card is normal summoned, you can send one attraction trap directly from your deck to your spell and trap zone. And one thing I noticed about the monsters is they feel very reminiscent to Altergeist monsters. Like the boss monster is basically like a multi-faker, and this card is like a marionetter. Second effect, I already explained it with the other cards, so let's move on. Also, one thing I want to say, I really like this archetype. It's weird, it's fun, and it reminds me of the reason I like decks like Performer Pals and even Perform Mages. And Konami put a lot of thought into this archetype, and I love it. As shown here. Amazing ticket with the quick play spell called Amazing Time Ticket. Pay 800 life points, applying this effect based on whose turn it is. On your turn, you're going to add one Amazement spell and trap from your deck to your hand, and on your opponent's turn, you can send one attraction trap directly from your deck to your spell and trap zone. It can be activated this turn. I like that Konami added the cost because it makes sense since this whole deck is based around an amusement park, so you kind of pay money to enter an amusement park. And in this case, the money is 800 life points. So I like that touch. Next, we have Amazement Special Show. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets an amazement monsters you control, you can target one of those amazement monsters you control, return it to the hand. Then you can special summon one amazement monster from your hand. This card is pretty situational, but it's a decent one of, if anything. You should probably never run this card at 2 or 3. Lastly, we have the field spell, Amazement Precious Park. and both of its effects are hard once per turns. First effect, you can activate one attraction trap directly. I mean, you can activate one attraction trap card during your main phase, the turn it's set. Second effect, during the end phase, you can send one of your attraction traps equipped to a monster to the graveyard, and target one of your attraction traps with a different name that is banished or in your graveyard, set it to your field. My only issue with this card is that the second part of the second effect isn't optional, so you can't just leave your attraction traps in the grave for your boss monster. You'd only be able to have one of them in the grave. I mean, it's still a decent effect, but I guess that's my minor issue with this card. Next, we have Amazement Family Face. Target one. Sorry. Target one monster your opponent controls. Equip it with your attraction traps. Wait, reading. Target one monster your opponent controls equipped with your attraction traps. Equip this card to that target. Also, a lot of the traps have a similar effect, except this one is different from all of them since you have to have one already equipped to a monster to equip this card to that monster. Second effect, take control of that monster. Now you can understand why you have to jump through a few hoops just to, equip this to a monster on the field. Actually, no, this one specifies that it has to be your opponent's monster, which again makes sense given the second effect. And while you control the equipped monster, it gains 500 attack. It cannot activate its effects and is treated as an amazement monster. And I really like that touch because it's basically a balance snatch deal. And it reminds me of a Toon card, but I forgot what it is. Next, we have going on to the attractions. Now we have Amaze Attraction Cyclone Coaster. And all of the remaining trap cards have this first effect, reading target one amazement monster you control or one face-up monster your opponent controls. Equip this card to that target. Second effect, you can activate this card based on the equipped monster's controller. If it's equipped to a monster you control, you can target one spell and trap your opponent controls, send it and this card to the graveyard. It doesn't destroy, it sends, which is pretty good, especially if they have a card that triggers when destroyed or prevents itself from being destroyed. And if your opponent controls the equipped monster, you can add one amazement monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, send this card to the graveyard. So this card actually helps send itself to the graveyard, which is pretty nice, especially for your boss monster. I mean, like if you have this and the boss monster in hand, you can actually equip this to a monster your opponent controls, add another amazement monster from your deck to your hand, and then you can special summon your boss monster, and then you would have a trap in your graveyard for your boss monster to use. Anyways, next we have, by the way, all of them have artwork relating to other archetypes or other monsters in the game. And I think this one is either Nephthys or Winged Dragon of Ra. Next we have Amaze Attraction Wonder Wheel. I'm not going to read the first effect because it's the same as the previous one. Second effect, depending on the controller of the equipped monster, you gain these effects. If you control the equipped monster during your main phase, you can target one card from your hand. Return one card from your hand to the bottom of the deck, then draw one card. If this card is equipped to your opponent's monster, you can swap the equipped monster's attack and defense until the end of this turn. And that kind of makes sense since, this artwork is referencing Ojamas, and it's basically like Ojama Country or Ojama Kingdom. Yeah, basically this part of the effect represents Ojama Kingdom. This one I'm not too sure what this one is supposed to represent. The effect, And next we have Amaze Attraction Majestic Manage, which is kind of weird because you would think it was based on Magic Specters, but this is based on Six Samurais. Yeah, it's based on Six Samurais. It's kind of weird. Anyways, second effect. If you control this card, you can target one amazing. Anyways, you can. Oh yeah, the equipped monster gains 500 attack. Also, if it would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can send this card to the graveyard instead, thus protecting your monster, plus it gives a 500 boost. And the cool thing is, if you have it equipped to your boss monster, that's like 3100 attack, and it gets protection. And if your opponent controls the equipped monster, that equipped monster loses 500 attack for each attraction trap equipped to a monster. Meaning, if you have this card and 4 other attraction traps equipped to monsters on the field, your opponent loses 2500 attack. Next, wait, hold on. Yeah, I'm not really sure what it has to do with this. With 6 Sams, but that's an effect. Next, we have a maze attraction rapid racing. If you control the equipped monster, you can target one card in either graveyard, change the equipped monster's battle position, and if you do, shuffle that target into the deck. So it's basically like graveyard disruption. And if your opponent controls the equipped monster, you can increase the equipped monster's level by 1. And if you do, change its battle position. Which makes sense since it has FAs in the artwork, and if you don't know about FAs, they like to increase their levels a lot. Next and lastly, we have a maze attraction horror house. And it has ghost tricks in the artwork, so you already know what its second effect is. If you control the equipped monster, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. And if your opponent controls the equipped monster, you can change the equipped monster to face down defense position, hence the ghost trick artwork. Anyways, and that's all for the archetype: 6 traps, 3 spells, and 3 monsters. I really like this archetype because Konami put a lot of thought into this archetype, which feels very weird of me to say because usually Konami's not good at future plot planning, I guess. Future proofing. Plus, this archetype reminds me of Performer Pals and Altergeist mixed together, and I like both of those decks. So, needless to say, I find this deck to be pretty amazing. Pun not intended. I can't wait for this deck to come out so I could play it, but we just have to wait and see what comes out for this deck. Because oh yeah, I forgot to mention on one of the cards there's like an artwork depicting another monster, and that is this thing. You have the boss monster, you have the bear, and you have the machine apparently, and you have this thing. So we might be getting that in the set after voice crack. We might be getting this in the set after this set or within this very set. But I doubt we're getting it in this very set. Anyways, tell me what you guys think about Amaze. What was it called? Oh yeah, Amazement and Attractions. Anyways, it's been me, your boy Blue Getsuga, and I'm out.